Hey, welcome back to the Real Estate Excellence Podcast. Today's guest is a true Clay County real estate icon, top producing realtor, trusted mentor, and market expert who has been serving her community since 1998. She began her career in the days before smartphones, when every deal was built on face-to-face relationships and contracts that were signed at the kitchen table. For nearly 27 years, she has helped more than 800 families move, mentored countless agents into top producers, and developed deep understanding of how the market through her passion for statistics and trend analysis. Known for her integrity, problem-solving skills, and commitment to keeping clients fully informed, she has built an outstanding reputation among both clients and fellow agents. She thrives in turning challenges into opportunities and inspiring others to break through the barriers in their own real estate careers. Get ready for an inspiring conversation packed with timeless principles, practical strategies, and elevate your business. Please welcome to the show, Eden Jordan.
So who are you talking about? Just kidding.
That is the, as I've been telling everyone on the show, all my listeners are going to get bored of this. That's AI. Right?
Okay,
It's a
we'll
beautiful
go with
thing.
it.
And you know what? I started doing something a little different. I did it on the last show, and my guest, Michelle, was very taken back from it because I take the bio. I actually went into your LinkedIn because LinkedIn had a little different bio.
Yeah.
So I just blended the two bio, fed it into to chat, and I said, give me, it knows my podcast, as we were talking about before, and create that intro, and that's what it created there. And then I've been asking it, what I asked Michelle the other day, and you're the second person I said, give me 5 standout it was qualities. It says funny that it was makes you exceptional. What's unique and exceptional about Eden? And it popped out these 5 things on the back here. 27 years of consistent high performance, mentorship legacy, data-driven approach, reputation built on integrity, problem solving under pressure, which obviously feeds into your bio. Those
that
your
would
5.
probably sum it up.
Yeah.
So, I hope so. They just don't see the hot mess behind it, but
Well, it's always great to have someone so deep. I mean, this show could last for a day because of the knowledge that you're bringing and experience in the different markets that you're seeing. Just to bring everyone up to speed. Obviously, you come in the late 1998. Obviously, 2008 bottom drops out. You've seen so many markets. When you are talking to new agents that have been just last 2 or 3 years, and their reaction to our current situation, I don't think it's bad. It's just it's a market. It's a market. It's a season in the life of real estate, right? How do you ease their pains, I should say, or put them at ease?
People forget one other big time, and I don't know if you were in it, is 9/11.
Yes.
I mean, that was a big deal. I was newer. I was a young mom, so I started when my youngest was in a car seat because I had worked with my mother-in-law. So they'd seen a lot of markets. So I worked with a lot of people that had seen the 18% interest rate. So that's me now. I'm that lady, the old lady that, back then when we did this, this, and this. But I just tell people that they pretty much have to wait it out, and it's a cycle. And I told them when it was going up, whatever came up, the higher we go up, the lower it's going to come down. And it's basically supply and demand. And people have a really hard time comprehending that concept. So,
well, it's because there's so many factors.
Right. And
it's not just a simple supply and demand.
Different, each one. So I feel like we've been through 4. And I had in college, I came out in 91. And there was a recession then, too. Like, we couldn't get jobs. Like, I've been through recessions now. Like, we know what they feel like. You kind of know when they're coming. This is very weird because it should have happened 3 years ago, where it would have I feel like the bottom should have just dropped out and we would have been a lot better off. But obviously, our government likes to keep things, they waited too long for whatever reasons. But the bottom line is that they're cyclical. And what we went through, if you got in after 2020, that was, and everybody says that and they understand, but they didn't understand when they were in it, that was so abnormal that there's a what reaction for every action. What is that?
Reaction, an action for every. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
It's going to, but you see what I'm saying?
Yes,
like,
yeah.
And it happens. Like you've got to even it out. There's laws of economics, and of course, I didn't pay attention to that when I was at college, but now I love that stuff. Like you can watch it, you can see it with the inventory, and now we have so much more data. The public does too. To kind of feel what's going to happen, you can kind of forecast, I think, in the next couple months. Like I don't know, do you follow Logan Monashami with Housing Wire?
Not Housing Wire, no.
He's called the chart daddy.
Yeah.
So anyway, but there's so many positive things happening now, but I think agents don't really know how to
articulate it,
read it.
Yeah.
Like they're just so in the day-to-day, like they can't see what's really going on behind the scenes. Does that make sense?
Well, 100%. I mean, I've told the story several times. It's been a while. I was researching because I was working for a major builder, 3 or 4 years ago. And when we got to that point, like I think it was in 21, where we started to get situations where by the time the house was finished, they needed to come back and get 40 grand more for them because of the cost analysis. And so I went back and I was doing research on how did that happen? Well, in 2008, we basically broke a 50-year low and went below any low that we'd had the previous 50 years. And it didn't get back up to that low point until like 2012 or 14, I forget what it was, in housing. In construction. So the lumber mills lost their tails. Right. And a lot of lumber mills, mom and pop lumber mills went under, and these big conglomerates came in and bought them up, type of thing. And their attitude at the time, this is in the late, this is 2018, 19, their attitude was, we've got to help our investors that lost their butt back in 2008 to 2012, and we're not going to build any more lumber. It wasn't a shortage of lumber. We had plenty of trees and so forth and lumber. It was how, just like the gasoline, how many refineries do we have? Right. We don't have a shortage in oil. How fast can we refine it to put it in your tank? Right. It's all that whole valve is being adjusted accordingly. And that obviously drove prices. COVID throws a whole demand, which I don't think people realize how far we are behind in housing nationally. Even.
Well, but you say that, so I get very confused by that whole statement.
I do too,
because there's a lot of vacant houses around. I think there's a huge greed factor in this country. There's a lot of people that own properties that are sitting there. They Airbnb them. For us to be in the real short now is New York City and Los Angeles and Chicago, absolutely. But here in Florida, we are not in a shortage. There is no shortage of housing in this state. That's what I believe. Because we have so much land.
Do we have enough affordable houses?
Well, what is affordable?
Well, that's the thing.
The builders went from the house being right at COVID 160, and now that same house is 320.
Well, no.
So how does that happen in 5 years?
Yes.
We didn't just automatically raise all these incomes. There's a greed factor, and they're making a lot of money. I think they are.
Well, I think if you were running the business, you would go that way too. I mean, because you're able to achieve the price point that they're being able to put out there. Now, right now, I think builders are making a very slim margin because all the incentives they're giving away, they cannot be making the profits they were making in 19 or 20.
But before BC, as I call it, before COVID, literally Cross Creek, you could go out there and buy a house for $160. They were selling them right when COVID happened. Now that same house is $320. So my question is, it's just like the taxes. Where's all that money? All the taxes went up. We didn't have that much in expenses. My income, now, of course, real estate agents' incomes had gone up, but we've always kind of been leveled out. It's a roller coaster.
You're based on a percentage.
But my husband's income isn't changed. He works in mortgages. It changes. It's the 5% or whatever every year, but it's not so my point is, it's all controlled by Wall Street and the government and all these things. That's, if you had to say what the difference is, that's what the difference is. Government was not involved in the housing like it was
Yes,
before
100%.
2008.
Yes, they should have pulled off the quantitative easing way before they
Right.
did, and just in increment it. And we probably never would have reached 7%. We would have probably settled off at
But
6.
we were
But
getting close to
3%
5.5.
interest rates.
Weren't we at like 5.5? It was starting to. They were starting to raise them to slow it down a little
Mm-hmm.
bit before COVID. When did you start? When were you at Quicken?
I started there in 2005.
Right, but like, so you get to like 2000.
It was
18,
October
19.
31st of 2008. The interest rate was 6.25 on a 30-year fixed.
Right.
After that, in November of 08
Then
is when they
dropped
started
them
dropping.
because we had such a shit show.
Yeah.
Can I say that?
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. They started getting. Then they obviously, like you said, they keep this quantitative easing on in 2.5-3% interest rates, and obviously what that it's driving up the price of the home, or the builder can charge more for the home. The lumber guys are saying, well, hey, they're getting this price point, we can charge more because we got to make back the money. Now, what does the government need to do? Got to come in and incentivize the lumber yards to
Right.
make more lumber and drive the price of the cost of building homes down. But you're right. When the government gets in and starts meddling too much, we go from I think extremes to extremes.
But I don't think we can go to lower rates really fast right now. I think it would be a disaster.
I believe, and everyone knows if they're listening to the show, I believe when we start doing a 5.875 on a 30-year fix, it's going to be a frenzy, and you're going to see back to multiple offers. I don't know if it'll be like 2020, but even for just that, ordinary home, there's going to be multiple offers.
It's amazing how quick it went up, but how long it takes to go down.
yeah.
So it's very interesting how that happens. Because in 2006, end of 2006, so we had a bunch of investors that came in 2005. We called them California cocktail party investors because they would come in, they would be at a cocktail party, and they're like, oh, you can go to Jacksonville, Nashville, Atlanta. You can buy a house for $150,000, rent it out, do it as owner occupied, 5% down, blah, blah, blah. So we would do that. I'd pick out houses for the people. I'd go in, I'd go to the builder. We'd pick all the colors. They'd never been here. So we had that, and that's where a lot of those people lost money. Again, you've got to go through that layer of people.
Well, I think the phrase I always like to use, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. Some people became hogs, and they lost their tail.
I think we have a lot of that here right now that has not worked its way through the system. So, because same thing, right? Just different. But so I had a young attorney came in from San Francisco. He was probably 30, and he thought he was great, whatever. And he's like, I'm going to buy a house and rent, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, great. So I took him out. I showed him 12 houses. All of them were vacant. And none of them were going to cover the rents. Yeah. And I was like, listen, this is done. I'm not putting my name on another house. I grew up here. I know what people make. This is done. You need to go home. And I drove him back, and I said, you need to find another agent. I'm not doing it again. Well, no,
there was a pickup of the DSCR loan. It's an interesting product, but basically, if you're not putting at least 30% down and you're putting 20% down for investment property, the rent covers the note. Great, but right now it's such it's such a it's such a pigeonhole loan that the rent's got to cover principal, interest, tax, insurance, and any fees in that community. Well, because the interest rates are so high, and you're only putting 20% down, it's very difficult to fit in it. This is a problem that you were basically having. But the Airbnb stuff I think to me is saturated. If you're looking for Airbnb, unless you're buying an existing Airbnb that's a unique property somewhere that you're just taking over their business because whatever reason they want to cash out, great. But if you're trying to create your own Airbnb right now, to me it's a lot of logistics, a lot of hassle for. I don't think you're gonna
risk. Yeah. If somebody came to me and wanted to do that, I wouldn't help them.
Yeah, that's right.
I just don't think it's. I don't think it's a good use of. I feel like it had its day.
It had its day, and I mean St. Augustine, I'm sure Fernandina Beach are both, and Jack's Beach are just saturated.
Right.
Where all these people trying to.
I live in a canal. We have somebody that bought $1 million house, literally $1 million in Fleming Island in Clay County. and they rent that thing out for $800 or $900 a month, a week. I mean,
yeah.
no, a night.
Yeah.
Because it's big. It's a big house, but it was something that I'm not sure, but they bought it owner occupied, and all of a sudden they're not moving in it, and there's people there every week.
Yeah, there's definitely, we can talk about scrupulous stuff. Let's get on to some good stuff. Let's talk about you. You and I graduated college basically about the same time.
Okay.
You obviously, you got into real estate in '98. What was going on in your life? What did you? I think you went to Florida State, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, what did you originally see yourself as doing for a career? What was your vision as a young Eden?
So, well, I graduated at a weird time because, again, it came off of another recession. I don't know what caused it. I was too young partying in school, right? I'd worked at Disney on the college program, so I was one of the early college program kids. So when I graduated, of course, I thought that I could go back and work at Disney in the corporate world, but they paid like $3.50 an hour, and then you had to pay rent off that. So the way they did it is, you work there, you live there, and then they took the money out of your rent.
Check.
So I went back after, because I was like, oh my gosh, it was the best summer of my life. I had a great time, and I was like, I'm going back. I'm going to work at Disney. And my dad was horrified. So I go back, I get this little garage apartment in Winter Garden, which now I guess is I was just talking to somebody moving there, and it's really like kind of high end now, but I lived in a garage for like $200 a month. And I ended up having to get a second job because Disney was cutting the hours. So that was my first experience with slow, things weren't what they were the year before. So I got a second job doing sales, like I was doing calling for something. I don't even remember the product, but it was cold calling. And basically I started doing that, and then the guy started bouncing my checks. So that's like, to me, was trauma, right? So I ended up, that was last me 4 months maybe. I broke the lease. It was some guy's garage. It was fine. And my dad's like, you just need to move home. And I had grown up my dad was a furniture manufacturer. They manufactured PVC patio furniture out of a big factory in Orange Park. And so I grew up in a factory. I grew up going to trade shows. He was an amazing salesperson. He always he sold by education, basically. And so by that time, he was not in the manufacturing of the furniture. He was doing the pipes and fittings and all these things. So I'd been to trade shows. That was where all our family vacations were. I'd kind of been around a lot of sales.
Right.
So I was like, I'm going to be a trade show manager. Association management was my thing. So I went to Chicago to the Florida Hardware Show with him. He got me an interview, and I went up there, and it scared me to death. I was like, I'm from Florida. Like, I can't move up here. Like, it was the hardware show is like used to be one of the biggest trade shows in the world. So it was huge. It was really cool. There was all these things in there, but they did furniture and all kinds of stuff. So when I came back, I met somebody. I was waiting tables at a place in St. Augustine because he lived in Volano. And I met this couple that was in an association management. Well, they brought me all the magazines that they had because they thought I was nice and cute because I was personable. I knew how to talk to people. And so I ended up talking to them, and then, do you want all this? I tried to figure out, so I called the Convention and Visitors Bureau in Jacksonville, and I kept calling, and I met this lady. I got her name. We used to do informational interviews. There was no research. Like, you just picked something, and you called, and you said, hey, I'd like to learn more about your company. Do you mind if I come and ask you stuff about your company?
Right.
So I kept asking this lady. Her name was Shelly Goodzak. She worked in Jacksonville for a long time, ran the CBV down there. I kept calling. Well, I had been out partying one night, I'm sure. And she finally called. No cell phones, right? And I'm like, hello? And she's like, you have been so persistent, I will meet with you. So I went down there, met with her. And she's like, things are rough right now, but there's an assistant, an admin assistant, and what they called an event coordinator. It was basically a babysitter at the Prime Osborne. Let me see if I can get you down there. So I went down there, and I got the job, no benefits, nothing, but to me it was great. I think I made $18,000 a year, and I was like, this is a real living. Like, I can live here. So anyway, I did that for a couple years, moved around, and then I ended up with a trade show company. It's called Festivities Publications, and it was downtown Jacksonville. And they basically taught people, they had 4 magazines, but they also taught people how to make gift baskets. All these ladies that did them out of their homes and sold gift baskets, and then balloons and parties, which had all the party arches and all that stuff.
Right.
So it's kind of a big deal, but it was national. And they needed a trade show salesperson. That's when I knew I had it. They sent me to Atlanta, the gift show, and I was supposed to sell their trade show. So they had their own trade show where they would teach everybody. And I came home with a stack of contracts like this because I was so excited. And that's when I knew, okay, you're not just a normal salesperson. I had what my dad had,
right.
Which, I'd been around it my whole life.
Right.
So anyway, I did that, but then I was traveling all over. I was going to all different gift basket or food and fancy gift shows all over the country. It's great. I was in my 20s, got married, got pregnant. So basically I ended up having a baby. And my mother-in-law had worked for Remax. She'd been with Watson for years, old school, one of the
right.
West Side realtors that have been around forever. And she's like...
Someone Tom probably worked with.
Oh, he knows that.
Yeah.
He knows my husband, too.
Yeah.
So she was like, oh, well, I didn't want to go back to working, traveling, because it was too much. Like, I couldn't do it. And I was on the phones a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no internet. You couldn't work from home. Now I would do that job from home.
Yeah.
But, so she's like, oh, computers were just coming out for all of them. And it was probably like where I'm at now. She was in her 50s, and she's like not winding down, but, when you do this for so long, there's a burnout factor. So I ended up, she goes, you can work on my mailing lists. And I was like, okay. So, I get on the computer, I'm doing, because everything was handwritten. We had to take all the notes, all the books she had.
Mm-hmm.
It was very, old school. So we would drive around with the baby in the back. She'd show me all the neighborhoods. And she's like, okay. So Ann McAfee, who is still around, she was amazing as a real estate mom. They saw something in me because we were at Remax, and she's like, okay, you need to get your license. This is not working. You're going to be good. So I got my license. Basically, Lilia who works with me now. So my daughter works with me. She's now a mom of her, now a new mom.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started there, and it was really fun because I worked with people that listen to this would know some of these people, Joy Campbell, Linda Nelson, just really great. Remax was the shiz back then, right? In Orange Park, everybody worked there. So I had a really great foundation, and I learned a lot from a lot of these women and men. There was a lot of guys there too. Bob Howard, but they were the top producers of Clay County. So I feel like I got really lucky
mm-hmm.
the time that I got in, because computers were just starting out. So we kind of grew with it.
Right. Well, fast forward to today and what you're doing today on a daily basis, or what you can get done on a daily basis today. Yeah. I mean, obviously what you can do from a marketing standpoint, obviously social media coming on. I mean, did you jump into those arenas quite quickly, or did you butt that?
I was thinking about this when we were talking. Yeah. I did social media before it was even a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So do you remember viral emails?
No, I can't say that.
You remember if you got an email and it was something interesting, and you would just forward it to all your friends?
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, I learned really early on to do that and put my name at the bottom, because they would forward oh, this is going on with the schools, or this is going on here, or this is going there. And this would have been before 2007, before Facebook, right?
Right.
So I figured that out really early on. In fact, I did something similar to this with Remax back in 2007, before they sent a photographer in and camera and all that stuff, because I figured this out with all the moms. Really, all my business was on a playground. Like, I made more money in school and playgrounds. That's another conversation.
Yeah.
It's harder as you get older because you don't have that built-in network. So, yeah, I would send out like all the information that people didn't have, and they would forward it. Oh, boom, boom, boom. So my name just kept going.
It was reply, and there was reply also. So you're getting everyone.
Yeah.
So you're jumping into everyone else's friends group like you would on social media today.
Yeah, it was before that.
Yeah.
And then so my 20th class reunion was in 2007, and we all figured out MySpace because we were trying to find people. And me and another friend of mine, Bonnie Upright, who actually worked for Coldwell Banker for a while as a PR person, we got really excited. So we made this page and we did all this stuff and we found all these people. And we had Orange Park High School was huge. Like, we graduated almost 800 people. So we had 300 people show up for our class reunion. Like, there was one bar that couldn't even get them all in because we found everybody. And so, because you had email and stuff like that, so that was when that happened. And then when Facebook came on, it was just rapid fire. Like, I figured this is it. Like, I don't think I got through 2008 and all that without Facebook. Like,
talk a little bit about. I think you were leading into something there before the social media that I still think is relevant today in building. For especially new agents who are trying to just, we talk about reaching out and reaching out to your warm circle of influence, but you started to lead into the playgrounds and probably the ball games of the young kids. That still can go on today. The great thing is you can friend them on Facebook and stuff, and all of a sudden they're following you instantaneously.
Right.
Before, you probably just hopefully getting their email address, and maybe they got on your newsletter or one of these emails that you're talking about. But what are some of the tactics that you used back in before that Facebook and so forth, when you were a young mom, and getting everybody at the ball field or at the playground to know what you did?
I was very good at this. I did it without them knowing it. So I remember there was a loan officer. He worked for Wells Fargo, Chris Stockton, and he was like, we would be at the gym, and there's these bleachers, and he goes, they are getting worked, and they don't even know it. Because I could gently put in, because you sat there and talked. The problem now is, and this is the biggest problem, nobody's sitting there talking. We were just so hungry to talk to people.
They're just in their phones.
They're in their phones.
Yeah.
And so I find that, and they're scared to talk to people because they're like, oh, they're going to judge. I annoy the heck out of my family because I can talk to anybody, right? I don't want to anymore as much as I used to because it's exhausting. But you could literally sit there with Mom. Hey, what do you do? What? Oh, yeah, I'm a real estate. And then I'd have magnets on my car that reinforced. Like, I didn't have to tell them what I did. They met me as a person, and then real estate was my job. Does that make sense? So, I was like, I'm Eden. I'm Lilia's mom, or Ava's mom. But I'm also the agent. But it was reinforced. I didn't go, oh, hey, I'm a realtor, and I'm going to sell you, you want to buy a house? That's not the way I did it.
Shove a business card in their face or something.
But so then I was just the most knowledgeable, so people started talking, because everybody talks about real estate.
Yeah.
Like, everybody loves to talk about it. So you get 4 moms, you're all at the bleachers at the thing, and they're like, oh, what about that house on the street? Da, 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 da. So they'll start to ask you. So I probably got to be the most knowledgeable person. But I was very fortunate because there wasn't a lot of young people doing it. Like, for me to be 28 and start, that was like, you're crazy.
Right.
Like, why are you starting? Nobody starts this early.
Right.
Especially at RE/MAX. I mean, RE/MAX was like, you did not start brand new there. But I was like their first team member, buyer's agent thing. So it was just a different time.
Yeah.
But I remember going to RE/MAX convention and being like so excited because I love that stuff. And I was like the youngest person around. I mean, there was just not very many young people. But then I looked at that as an opportunity,
Why do you think right now I'm seeing, obviously any agent that really put forth an effort in 19, 20, going 21, it was May of 22 when rates went up, and, then the, our inventory started to grow. Things slowed down a little bit as the rates went up. But I'm seeing some agents actually excelling in this market. They were doing good, but they're doing better, while others who were doing good are actually, trending down. What do you think is breaking? What do you think is the differentiator there?
Probably the amount of money they're spending and not taking their foot off the gas. I mean, I think it's really hard to keep going full force for a long period. And this business, it's hard. The rejection is brutal. And I think I've seen a lot of people do this in our area. They'll start to hibernate. Like, they were in the office all the time, and you would see them, and we would be at things, and we would do, and now they slowly disappear. And you got to get up not every day, because I don't get up. I don't go in every day, but I go in you'll see me in the office, especially when I'm in funk. I will use my friend Rhiannon Meyer's name, because I just told this story. She was in a funk. She had lost her mom during COVID. She's always been a great top producer, great friend, great agent. Had been at Watson for years and came over about 10 years ago. And she was in a funk. And I was like, get up. Come into you have got to get up. Get in here. You are a great agent. You've got to make money. What else are you going to do? Get up. And I did that like a year and a half ago, and she's totally back on track. Not because of me, but she knew it.
Right.
She just needed someone to say, yes, this is hard. It's hard. You have a huge sphere of people. Do what you know how to do. And so I think a lot of people are still hibernating, and they can't. People that got in after 21, 22, rejection is terrible. And then, and this, if you're in 25, you probably don't experience it. You sold someone a house, you made a lot of money off them, and then you got to go back and tell them their house is worth, 30, 40,000 less than what they paid for it. That's terrible. Yeah. And we're doing that right now. A lot of people are doing that right now.
What to kind of spin on your reaching out to your friend there and kind of giving her a little boot in the butt.
Sorry, Rhiannon.
Yeah.
If you see this.
but what have you in the years you've been in, the importance of having some collaboration with some 100%. Other agents, like you go in the office for obviously some synergy, if you want to use that word, or whatever it gives you energy, but to have some of those people, because you do go through these seasons, and I think a lot of agents, you're all your own individual businesses, feel like you're on an island,
right? And
to realize that, to actually talk to somebody and realize they're going through the same challenges that you are, and maybe they're broken through that challenge a little earlier. What did they do, right? Get some ideas and to help you. The importance of having that group around you over the years.
There's no way I could have done it without all my friends in real estate. Like, they're literally my backbone. I mean, people think because you're a top agent that you don't have the same problems and the same fears and but we do check-ins with each other all the time. I mean, Stark Keating, I call her all the time. Are you busy? No, you're busy when I'm not busy. And, and just to really keep each other up. I have a really great support system where I am. That's why I've stayed there. I've been there 17 years. And I had it when I was at Remax, but everybody left. And people freaked out. When they leave and stop showing up, it's really hard, because, I mean, and there's people right now I would love to call and say, where are you? Get up. Come on.
Right.
You're good. But but you can't save everybody. I mean, this business is hard.
So if you were talking to a new agent or someone who might have been in the business now 2 or 3, 4 years, but they're kind of stagnant, they're struggling through, what are some of the things that you would, go, if they came to you and, you did a little checkup on you? Are you doing this, and this? What are some of the things that you would want to know about them to be able to evaluate their situation?
So the young people, I'm like, they say they're too busy, but I'm like, you need to go to every birthday party. You need to go to every sporting event. That's the thing they do. They'll go and they'll sit in their car. That's what my team, always had like a small team. And, where people are like, oh, you need to cold call. I'm like, no, you need to go sit in the ball field and start talking to people. Like, if you don't do that, the people that see you every day, because out of sight, out of mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think social media has gotten way too canned and too saturated. People don't really want to know all the things that you've sold and all that stuff, but they like being connected to a person. Like, there are a lot of people that will just call me just because they have questions or whatever. Mm. So being like a knowledgeable person, I think, and that takes time. Somebody was like, oh, will you sell this much? I said, this is 27 years of doing this every year after year after year. This does not happen overnight. That's the thing I think that's the most interesting about a lot of these agents. They think it's just instant success, and very few people get it like that, mm-hmm. right? They might get a run, but it takes 3 years.
Well, as in life, we often don't know what chapter they are in their situation. They may come into real estate, but it's stuff they did before.
Right.
And then they come into real estate and they tap in, as I know there's some Orange Parkians over there who are, Jordan, May now. I mean,
Jordan Feria. And
yeah,
I was her mom, her real estate mother.
Mm-hmm.
And, what she puts out there, she struggles too, like we all do.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, we mentored her all the way through, and
yeah.
She gets mad because I tell her I sound negative, like with all the stats. And she's like, dang it, Eden, you just you're always right. Like because I would be like, be careful, I mean, we sat her in like, girl, you're making money. She is a force of nature.
Yes.
That girl, but. Very few have the success that Jordan has had.
Right. They try to measure themselves to someone like her, but
you can't.
But we
did. It was a struggle for all of it. We're like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh, where's she getting all the,
Well, she just, I mean, obviously, whatever situation, obviously she's working in her backyard where she grew up. A lot of people know her.
But now she's expanded. Like she's
yeah.
at the beach. I mean, she's doing a lot
of
high-end stuff.
She just so happened to roll in and be around people like you and Kim Knapp and those people, those that some very knowledgeable people.
Oh yeah, she's
so she surrounded herself by some key components, was able to absorb it and go out and excel with it.
Yeah, and she's very smart. I mean, she has something special, and there's a lot of people that do, but she never gave up.
Yeah.
So, probably a lot of people want her to. Because it's hard to watch that kind of huge success, but I'm very proud of her. I think she's done amazing.
Yeah.
And now I think she's spending more time with her family. That was my biggest thing about her, that I was always checking in. Do not sacrifice your family for this deal.
Yeah.
Like, this is not worth it. Like, be a mom. And I think she's created some balance. That's another thing that when you get busy like that and you're young and you've got, there's times I don't remember.
Yeah.
From my second one.
Well, you never know when it's going to end. That's sales. When you're in commission sales, like, well, if I stop today and then there's nothing tomorrow, I'm going to be broke the third day,
I know.
right?
I called it prostitution.
Yeah.
It was like one more. I got to that burn. I mean, I was an overnight success, but I did really well young, and it was a lot of pressure. The best thing that happened to me was 2008, because my ego got back in check, because that's the other thing that this happens. This was before social media, and I remember having a meltdown, like, I can't do this anymore, because we were having to tell people hard conversations. It was not easy. We knew things were going south, and best thing that happened to me, because then I had a 4-year-old, and I got back in check. That's when I left Remax. I was paying bills that. It was just really scary time.
Mm-hmm.
My mom was sick, and I went to Pete Dalton, which was Vanguard at the time, and they were trying to recruit, or everybody was trying to recruit everybody, but they were taking away, like, we were getting Facebook, we were getting, had to take all these pictures. Like, we never had to do any of that.
Right.
You had to do flyers, and you'd have a typo, and I'd be up at night crying, and I've got a 4-year-old, and I was like, I can't do this. So that's when I left and went and worked for him. I actually went as a recruiter, which people don't really know that, but because he knew the complexities were coming in, he saw that really early on with all of the things. The photography was the big thing, because the pictures were so bad, and he's like, we've got to sell this stuff. Like, we need to market it. They made the brochures. That's where their whole concept came. So I was kind of a part of that.
Because now you're starting to see the internet, people searching for homes on the internet. Because we bought our home. You just made me think. We bought our home in November, closed in December of 2008, and we were searching on the internet. And you
How
think.
Much did you lose?
Well, no, we bought the home at that time. We bought it in a foreclosure. It's worth 3 times what we paid for it today.
Okay.
We did well from that standpoint, but it just made me think, because my wife was doing the searching. I told her, hey, find 5 or 6 homes that you like, then I'll go out and look at them, because when you're happy, whatever, I don't care. And we found out you're starting to use the internet at this time, and like you said, pictures are starting to become more important.
I mean, when literally MLS drove around, no kidding, and snapped a picture. Half the time they were moving in the car. That was your picture.
Yeah.
So then we got the floppy disk cameras. Do you remember those?
Mm-hmm.
Where it had like a disk thing in there. And then we got the little Palm Pilots. So, we've just been through a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's dig, 2008 was an awakening.
Yeah,
and
family-wise.
In real estate too. I mean, you now are like, okay, what in the world's a short sale?
Oh God, I didn't do them for the longest time.
Yeah, and then obviously dealing with foreclosures. So you had to fight through the next 2, 3, 4 years there. Really, what are some of the things that
No, we went all the way through 15. I think with them.
At some point, you had to come to reality, like, this is the cards we're dealt. I need to learn how to do a short sale. I need to learn how to handle the foreclosure. At what point did you kind of say, hey, I either need to get in or get out, really, right? I either need to grasp the situation or I need to go find something else to do.
Well, Pete Dalton will say that at almost every sales rally. Eden Jordan said that she was never going to do a short sale. And I did, and then I did them. But we had we used to get like 20 of the top agents together in the company, which there wasn't that many of us, right? But, you'd have Denise D'Amico, Wendy Griffith. These is the people we all had. Wendy Griffiths, Kim, Heidi, like all these people. And we would go in there and like talk about the banks and figure out what we were doing. And like, it wasn't about marketing. We had so many listings. Like, you would tell people no. Like, I cannot sell your house. So this is what you got to do if you want to sell your house. And so we just kind of all figured it out.
You collaborated because working with every bank was different. Who had a connection at that bank,
Facebook
maybe?
Post, and I'm like, I finally talked to the bank today. We got approval. Oh shit, the buyer walked. Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was just months and months and years of.
Oh, well, I mean, we knew at Quicken, because Quicken started to really dive into purchases probably in 2009. Before it was just primarily a refi shop. I mean, we would do a purchase if someone wanted to. But, when someone came to short sale, it's like, okay, this might close this month. It might be 6 months before we even know an answer, if even a contract's even accepted, the offer's accepted. And and I imagine it obviously discouraged a lot of people.
So hard.
And you had to figure your way through.
I pray we don't go there. I swore I wouldn't do it again.
Let's talk. I prepped your pre-show a little bit. Actually, I'm going to go this direction. Actually, with this, I believe every real estate agent has to have a level of grit in their. I mean,
agreed.
Because 2008 curveball. I mean, there was other curveballs you've had come at you, and you've worked your way through. Today, we laugh about that setback
and cry.
Yeah, and cry. We talk about it at cocktail parties. Hey, I did this. It's like walking up the hill both ways to school in the snow, right? We've these horror stories from the past. We laugh about it, but I feel there's 3 parts to having that grit, and that's love, laughter, and consistency. Why do you love real estate?
I say the people, it's so generic,
Mm-hmm.
but I have met some amazing people, but I love the deal. Like, I love getting them together, especially when they're hard. Like, I just had one, and like, it was a month's worth of negotiation, and we finally got it together. And I love doing things that other people probably couldn't get together. Like, those deals that you go, there's no way anybody else could have done this.
Right.
So that I probably get the most of. The easy ones aren't as much fun. I mean, my best deal this year.
You appreciate them, but they're not fun.
Was a $142,000 house over on the west side because she was referred, and she had a disabled son and 2 daughters. It's all she could afford, and dang it, we got her a house. And that to me was like, I felt way more accomplished than selling $1 million. I mean, $1 million ones are nice, but it's a different thing. I mean, I sell all price ranges.
Mm-hmm.
You can be 200, but that was probably my favorite deal this year.
Yeah.
So,
laughter. Tell us about one of those times where you really felt, I mean, almost pushed you out of real estate. I mean, you thought of like, maybe I need to go do something else.
That's like once a year. I don't know how to do anything else.
Tell us one of those things that really
gosh.
punched you in the gut or made you feel like you fell on your face and you got out of it.
I got sued.
Ooh.
Yeah. For something I didn't do. And I felt very
This is from a buyer or seller that you were representing?
So it's a really dumb scenario. Rhiannon Myers was involved. It was before she came to Vanguard. Sold a house. There was $100 voluntary association fee. Deal went fine, no problems. It was an older gentleman that was moving to Riverdale or River Garden. He had been president of the voluntary association many years back. Covenants, restrictions, we had them, but it's Park West, so it's a really old neighborhood. So a lot of that stuff expires out, right? So you have deed restrictions, and then you have, sometimes the neighborhoods will create, as I've learned, their own association. So I ended up closing it, no big deal. And we send out these, Pete would send out these just sold cards if we did something where you would get to send out the cards. Like if you put a lender sign in the yard, they can't do that anymore, but put a lender sign in the yard and, you had this program, and then you would get 100 free postcards that they would send out. So I'd send out just sold. Well, it hit the association president. She's like, how did this get past me? You didn't get an estoppel letter. And I was like, okay. So Head Moss and Fulton was my people. And they had tried to reach them over and over, but it was voluntary. So they didn't push it. It was $100 a year, $100 a year. And so we called Rhiannon calls her buyer and says, hey, I need you to sign this. We obviously missed it. He's like, I don't want to be an association. You never disclosed this. I have a work truck, and these old deed restrictions say that I can't have my work truck in here. And he sued, and then he also said non-disclosure because there was something in there. He sued the seller who had an umbrella policy, so they paid him like $10,000. Sued Coldwell. I went through it for 2 years, and I had to pay, it was another 10. They go after the E&O insurance. Mm-hmm. So, but
the listing agent.
I was the listing
You
agent.
were the listing agent. Okay.
So that was a really disgusting time and thing.
For $100 a year.
$100 a year. But it wasn't about the money. He saw an opportunity.
Yeah. As people do. Yeah.
So I felt very
you see the true colors, and people can kind of turn you off.
I felt exposed and like that, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And I feel like that's getting worse and worse. Like every meeting is like, oh, don't do this, you're gonna get sued. I'm like, just let me sell a house.
Exactly.
Right? Exactly.
Consistency. What do you feel you have done, or maybe evolved, or obviously it's definitely changed in 27 years, but what do you do consistently today do you think moves the needle in your business?
I have a amazing I don't even want to call them an assistant. I always have somebody behind me. So right now, her name is Sally Sullivan. She's in her early 30s. She's super smart. Wants to get in, doesn't have a base. So they basically, and I've always had somebody do that behind me, and I pay them like an agent very well. And they basically keep me going. So if I'm like this, the things keep going behind the scenes. All the marketing keeps going, the transactions, because you can't be 100% on all year this long. So it gives me the ability to be me. Right now, where I'm at in my career, I really am trying to separate like Realtor Eden and who am I without being her. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I struggle with that because sometimes I just want to be Eden, and I'm,
Well, I think a lot of people who are outside our industry in real estate don't realize that we actually wear the jersey every day.
Yeah, you're literally
24/7. That's who we are. We are a business. We don't check out at 5:00.
Because some people like meet me as a person. They're like, "Oh, well, you're totally different than I thought." I'm like, "Yeah, because this is my work. Like you're different at work. This is me socially and my own person." So I'm really trying to do that, and I think you can do that more with having a strong team behind you. So that's really probably the best thing that I've done. I don't touch I'm terrible with paperwork, by the way. Like, do not let me write a contract. This whole new Florida Fire Bar and buyer's agent and the 15 billion addendums is about to put me in the loony bin.
At what point did you start to bring on or start? Did you reach a certain level that you're like, man, I need to start leveraging others to help me with your full business, doing the marketing or writing the contracts?
So when I started, Mary, my mother-in-law, loved contracts. So she loved all that part of it. So when she saw that I just loved like the sales and showing property and doing all of that stuff, so I kind of started doing that. So I've always had it. Not always. I would say 20 years out of the 27 I've had it. Because I know where my weaknesses are.
Right.
Like, I know I'm terrible at that stuff. It was that way when I was working too, like in trade shows. Like, they just wanted me to sell. Nobody in their right mind wants me to do paperwork. So it's like, and when I say paperwork, like keeping track of all the little teeny things. So if I can get that off my plate, I'm much better.
You can move much faster. No, I'm the same way.
I'm much better.
Yeah.
Like my brain is clearer. Like I can't deal with all the little things. I mean, all the repairs and insurance and all the. I mean, I do them and I'm aware. I don't want to make it sound like I'm not aware.
Right.
I just have somebody behind me making sure.
Well, you realize at a point that you can do it all, but what's actually generating the deals, creating the money flow is you spending that front-facing time prospecting or working with a particular client, spending more time with them and so forth, and it's 10x your business. And that back office stuff, there are people who love doing it, like your mother.
Like every other company, you hire somebody. Like the fact that people think that you can do marketing, sales, transactions, admin, and prospecting, that you're good at all four of those things is the stupidest thing. Like I think Remax, real estate is so messed up that way.
Well, I'm sure you've seen this in the many agents that you've mentored over the years, and you in your bio, mentored them to success. They've reached, a lot of them probably came to you when they were at this, I call it reaching the lid. And my listeners, I use this, that's a John Maxwell thing. They've reached a lid in their business because they're trying to do everything, but they're not growing anymore because one, they're not quality FaceTime with the clients they have comes to a level, and just the time that they have in the course of the day. What do you, if you were, had a new agent coming on, they're doing halfway decent, maybe they haven't reached their lid yet, but how do you start foreshadowing them, hey, this is what you need to start preparing yourself for, and maybe now you need to start maybe sharing an assistant or sharing a transaction coordinator?
Yeah, I think
walk us through that.
Well, I think starting with somebody, people don't like partnerships or teams because they're really hard to pay in this business, but just getting a person to help you with the overflow or back you up is huge. But yeah, you've got to get an assistant. Like if you're doing more than 10 or 12 deals a year, I think I just don't know how people are doing it. Usually, it used to be 30 deals you would have to get somebody, but I don't know where that break is now because things are complicated. I mean, we work less, I say, but there's way more back stuff you have to do. I mean, there's so much you have to take care of.
Well, do you think is the competitiveness in the industry, especially from a marketing standpoint? Do you think social media has actually put more load on?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Because back in the day, you just had the magazine that went out with all the listings.
Like, it's just way different.
Yeah.
Way different.
Yeah.
You've got to, but I think too, like I did everything organically. Like I didn't go watch some trainer on how to do any of this. Like it just kind of happened.
Right.
That's why I struggle. Like a lot of people are into Ninja and some of the things. Now I did really enjoy Brian Buffini when he started, but then it's just very canned. So I don't even like going to all that stuff because I get very in my head. Like, oh, you have to be doing this, this, and this, and this, and I start doing that, and then I'm like, Eden, you're obviously doing something right. Don't mess with it, because that's what happens is I get in my head and I start all this stuff and I buy crap that I don't need, when really I just need to be me, which is what I do, and I can't can it. Like you asked me what to do, I don't really know what I do.
Well, I think Buffini and the trainings that you're talking about are good for someone who's coming into the business like, hey, what are some things I can do? Well, those are ideas that you can do. And there's some people, Kathy Griffiths, you mentioned her earlier, she's a big Buffini follower.
Yeah, Wendy.
Wendy, I'm sorry. What'd I say? Anyway,
Kathy,
actually, Wendy. She's a big Buffini follower, and actually, I think she's one of their trainers.
She's amazing.
Yeah,
but
she's dove into it and done that. You're doing your own Buffini. You're just doing Eden's Buffini.
I did it before it was a thing. But then when I went to his first things back, and this was before COVID, before 2008, I was like, oh, someone who gets it, But he also said, which was very interesting, going to Orlando in 2007, we would all say, but our listings aren't selling and they're not priced right. They're priced right and ready. He's like, they are not priced right. Everything will sell if it's priced right. And that was the beginning. And that was the eye-opener, because it didn't matter what they paid for it. It didn't matter what the last one sold for. You had to embrace the fact that these houses were not worth what they are. And I think we're coming into that. You're seeing
you had to, I mean, there was a whole perfect storm of things going on. I think a lot of people are hesitant right now. You and I know, I would imagine that you recommend someone goes out there now and they're like, oh, I don't want to buy. The interest rates are too high. I'm like, okay, well, if the interest rates go lower, you're no longer going to be able to negotiate the sales price, the buy down, or whatever the buyer's market it is right now. That could quickly go away. Interest rates drop 0.75%, and boom, like I said, that 5.875 on a 30-year fix. You got a seller's market again, and I think people don't realize it.
I think there's a lot of overpriced listings, and it is not the sellers. It is a lot of the agents, because they don't want to see these prices go down.
Yeah.
This is probably
I agree with you.
And so I've sold, I don't know my numbers this year, but I will tell you, every seller that listened to me and did the work and did the cleaning up and did have sold for more than what they would have sold if they didn't listen to me. So my point is, it's like Brian Buffini said, everything will sell. It's just what price. And I think agents have a really hard time. Anytime somebody says, this house is priced right, it's getting showings. If it hasn't sold, it's not priced right. And the best a lot of listing agents are bad about not showing property. Go show 10 houses. And the same price point, they stand out. Like, the good ones just stand out.
It's because our psychology, the agents too, but that definitely the sellers, they have this psychology as someone told them their house was worth so much, or someone down the street sold 6 months ago, let alone 2 years ago, for a certain price, and they think they're going to get that, and it's like, well, this is a different time and place. The interest rates were percent lower, so that the payment, the buying power of that person was different at that time. Where now the interest rates are higher, so people are looking at, what am I willing to pay for that house, whether it's on a dollar amount on a purchase price or obviously the payment situation, and they get stuck in. And I think I find the funniest thing is, it's like the stock market. You buy. I was on the IPO of Facebook. Now, should I have bought a hell of a lot more shares?
You should.
Yes, I should have. But
we wouldn't be sitting here right now.
Yeah, exactly. If I went all in and just took everything in and went on Facebook. But when it was in the high 400s, I think I told my wife, let's sell. Now it's like 700 something or whatever it was the other day, or type of thing. And it's unforeseen gain, and the value of the homes going up and what they have in the last few years is unforeseen gain. Now all of a sudden reality sets in, and it's like, oh, you know what, you really are 20, 30. We're not talking now, I don't know, maybe if you're in the $1 million, maybe a couple $100,000 off, but for the average home, you're 20 or 30%, something like that, you're off. And it's like, you had unforeseen equity. If I sold the stock, Facebook today at $700, I would look great, but I didn't sell it today, and tomorrow it could be at $650, and you know what I mean? And I think people get too caught up, like, oh my God, I lost money. No, you stayed in the home for reasons.
Well, and if you look at inventory, which is very interesting, I use Fleming Island because it's easy to look at. So I was just showing it to somebody today. So back our lowest point, we had 19 houses on the market active. Now we're at 154. Okay, same amount of houses are selling. There's just less buyers. Like, there's not enough buyers for the amount of inventory. But we need to be here because that was normal. During 2008, it was 300 to 400. So it's all in perspective. Like, things are not that bad.
Do you feel there's pent up? A lot of buyers on the sideline right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm hoping 26 is going to be our year. We said stay alive till 25, but that's not really the case.
Well, people are going to get smarter towards the end, because hopefully they'll find the house they want.
Tired. Definitely people are tired of waiting.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and I think there's sellers too, because I'm sure you experienced it. We had a lot when interest rates were, 3-4%. People were doing a lot of internal moves, whether I'm moving to Nocatee or moving out of Nocatee. I'm moving from sub to sub. We don't really have a lot of that going on because they have a low interest rate. But at some point, the rate is going to get low enough, and their anxiety or whatever, we're like, okay, that's low enough, I'm going to make the move now. Because hopefully they have enough equity, they can make a larger down payment, and then, the payment, difference is not that big, and they're willing to accept that they move to the house they want to. Right?
I worry about layoffs, though. I'm getting a couple phone calls, and that bothers me.
There has been some sporadic.
I got one last night, and I was like, oh, I knew she had, and then the layoffs worry me, and reality of people bought more than they could afford with these payments.
Yeah. Like,
we're seeing a lot of that in Clay County and Green Cove. Like, their payments are what I would have paid for my $500,000 house for $300,000,
Yeah. Yeah. No, it was.
Taxes are insane.
Again, when I was with the builders lender, to have a payment with your taxes, insurance, and everything in the low 2000s. Now, when you're starting quoting 3,000s, $3,000 plus payments.
I know, and then I told the one that called me that got laid off, I'm like, you bought your house for $435 in 2020. Your payment's $2,300. That same payment's what? If say they sold for $650, for someone to rebuy it, it's going to be like $4,500. How much?
Yeah.
4,000.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I love our veterans, but then buying at 100%, they're buying $500,000 and $600,000 houses. Like, dude, you're borrowing. Why is the payment so high? Because you're borrowing $500,000 or $600,000. Yeah. It's crazy. Um, Talk a little bit about you've mentored a lot of agents over the years. The importance of it. An agent who might be listening right now, who's either new or just again treading through, not really moving forward in their business. The importance of finding a mentor.
Well, I think so. The way I've done a team is I usually have that person will sell and work with me, and they follow me everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So, my opinion is latch on to an agent. Tell them you work for free. It's college. You're going to learn more by hopping in a car and following them around, help them clean up, behind each other. That's how I've trained. Like, I don't sit here and say, oh, let's learn how to do this, this, and this. But you can follow me for a week and you will learn more than you do. I mean, everyone that's done it, they're like, oh my gosh, this is
Right.
great. You're hearing
Go
all
on
the
your
programs.
buyers consultations.
Yeah.
Go on your listing.
Yeah, you listen to the spiels. You hear
The questions that you're being
right,
asked.
But agents are so competitive. They don't want to do that. They're so afraid of, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but people don't do that. And I've offered people getting in. I'm like, hey, ride with me. Go. I offer. And they don't take me up on it. I'm like, do you know, like, and that's not me being egotistical.
Right.
It's just, you can't learn this in a classroom. Like, I don't know. I drag them, hey, look at this stucco, like this, oh God, we need a roof, or oh Lord, let's put these numbers back, or, So you just hear what's in the process of the transaction, like the art of the transaction. You're not going to learn that.
Because you obviously know, and you don't even have to be in the business very long. Every transaction's different.
So different.
And you've got to see every one of these pitches that are coming, whether it's a roof problem, inspection problem, negotiation. The seller's got their what they want. The buyers want what they.
Insurance,
how are you making all this work?
Insurance. Oh
yeah.
God, it's killing us.
And although that person's that you're mentoring, their transaction is going to be a little bit different, but it's because you saw so many other different things, you're able to put it together.
Right.
Yeah.
You can totally learn by doing that. And then you can talk the talk. Like, you can be at a party and you can say, oh, well, I did this and this. And I've always, let them own my deals. Mm-hmm. So, Sally owns my deals. Lilia has them. They all look like they're in them. And they are, because they're seeing them.
Right.
I mean, that's how my daughter, she was with me 5 years, and she's still working. But she's selling pretty much just her friends and,
mm-hmm.
Her sphere, because now she's been in it 5 years. But yeah, she can talk the talk with all these young people.
Yeah.
So she's already, they understand, okay, she knows what she's doing because she's been exposed to so much.
I was talking to somebody the other day. Actually, I saw this new agent online, and I was like, oh, what would be great is to have a very new agent come in with their top producing mentor. And I asked her, I said, do you have a mentor? And they're like, it was like, no. And I'm like, do you want me to recommend? And then they're like asking me who I was. I'm like, well, I've only interviewed 260, 70 of the top real estate agents in the area. I don't know all the top producers. I'm still getting there, but I know a lot of them. But the fact that you just joined a brokerage, you haven't been in the business but 2 weeks, and the broker you've been joined up has not actually connected you, and you don't know squat about real estate, really disheartens me about some of the brokerages out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
I always tell people, you know what my real estate number is? 9,343. You know what they're on now? Like 89,000 or something like that. So it's very hard being a stable agent
mm-hmm.
in the brokerage to see so many people come through. So typically what I'll do, and that's how Sally got me. She watched me. She was like, this girl needs help. Like, I do great work behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to watch and see if you're really the real deal, because so many people come through the doors. Like, it's hard.
Yeah. No, well, I mean,
that make sense?
I think
So,
I'm sure you've had many people who you've given advice to, and they never even touched it.
No, they never touch it.
Yeah.
Now, there's some people, Judy Fields in my office, her son and daughter-in-law they're getting in it, and they're super aggressive, super smart, and they're going to work off her. But Judy doesn't really want to train. So, I'm like, hey, ride with me. Like, I would totally take you. And
Mm-hmm.
so he will do that. Like, I'm
Okay.
confident that he will do that. But my point is, like, I wouldn't do that for everybody.
Right.
Not right out of the box. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a lot of energy. Right?
Well, you want to see what the buy-in they have. What
I
is
like-
their? Are
yeah.
they coming in asking you questions and so forth? Like, I want to be better at this business, versus you reaching
That's
out
why-
to someone sitting on the bench. They're like, "Well, you're sitting on the bench. I'm not even going to talk.
I like
Get off the bench and come
pay
talk to me."
them
Yeah.
as an admin. It's what I do. I'll
Mhm.
pay them as an admin, and then you do what I need. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. You do it. You'll do open houses. You'll do all the things, but I do pay them.
Right.
But you have to be like part of my person. Because I'm not going to say I'm not easy, but I'm actually really easy and nice to work for. But I'm flighty. And so, like, but that's what makes me probably good. So if somebody's behind me making sure that I'm doing what I'm saying I'm
Yeah.
going to do,
Yeah.
then it's good. But I do like to pay. And people are like, you pay too much. Why are you doing it? I'm like, because it works for me.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
so if you can work for an agent and then just absorb everything, but a lot of agents don't want to pay.
do you think a lot of agents, especially the newer ones, and it goes back to the broker thing. Every agent does their business differently. Every brokerage does their business a little differently. Whether you're at Coldwell Banker, you're Real, EXP, Keller Williams,
Right.
whatever, they're all doing something a little bit different. How important it is to find that brokerage that does business the way you see it being done. You know, obviously the office at Coldwell Banker is a big strength of yours. You like going in there. You feel the energy.
Yeah.
Someone goes to Real, feels more on an island, although they kind of do something, but they don't have an office to technically
Right.
go to. So you that might sound good because they're not, the split might be
Right. And
sound better over there,
always
but
a dance there to be like, okay, am I using all the things?
Mhm.
And then, I think I love where I'm at, but things change over the
Right.
years, right? Like people change, leadership changes, but I do think you need to be somewhere that you can collaborate. I don't think this business being on an island it wouldn't be as much fun,
yeah.
in my opinion, but that's just me.
Well, I think many agents who start to think about, actually comes to their, in their mind that they are on an island, they need to start finding the collaboration, the things that we've been talking about. Then that means you're probably not surrounded by 4 or 5 agents who you are pouring into and they're pouring into you,
Right.
type of thing. If you are feeling you are alone. The data-driven approach. We've touched on that a few different times, but obviously today, with listings staying on the market, you were talking about one listing you had before the show that it's been on the market a little bit longer than it will be. How are you approaching these sellers without overwhelming them with your knowledge of data,
Yeah, I
but
can do
softly
that.
giving it
Sometimes
to them that they're actually going to eat it?
Yeah, I've been using. Have you heard about like pricing benchmarks? It's through Showing Time.
Mm.
It's pretty cool. It shows them how many houses are on the market. It puts them on a timeline, like on a line, and says, "Here, your price here amongst this and this. This is how many have sold." It's just really pretty the way
Right.
they've done it. But I am a big months of inventory. I don't like to use the word months of inventory. Active. I'm really pricing right now on active listings, not solds, which people kind of struggle with because they're like, oh, well, there's comps. But I'll typically, there was a speaker, her name was Jackie Leavenworth, that we loved. She was around for many, many years, and she would do a shopping cart. So she'd put all the listings in the area, and it's in a line, and it says, okay, these are all your competition. These have sold, these are pending, these, she didn't use expired. These failed, these listings failed in the market,
Mm-hmm.
and it really helps people get an idea of where, it's like, where would you go? Like, which would you look at? So I overwhelm them a little bit with data, but not in a way, just mostly like keeping them up to date. Like, here, this is everything, like ASAP, you're getting every listing that's making a change.
Mm-hmm.
But most people now are more knowledgeable. Like, they see it. Like, if you're not on Zillow, if you sign up for Zillow, I don't know about you, but I get like notifications for tons of stuff from them. I don't know. It's kind of hard. I don't even know if I answered that question, but
Well, you're having to have a more reality check with some of these
oh yeah,
sellers, and I think the big difference between, we talked earlier about, some agents right now are excelling, and some agents are fading, and a lot of it has to do with these conversations. I think, not saying all of it has to do, but I think the ones that are excelling are better at the conversation, are
Right.
better at either setting expectations, pricing the home right, because it is right. I mean, yeah, if you do price it right, and you have all the other amenities of the house that it should go in a reasonable period of time, versus others not getting any
I mean,
showings.
we're definitely staging. Like,
Mhm.
I'm getting them. I would say if these homes don't look right, if they're not clean or updated, I'm going to, and I'm getting to where I'm like, okay, if you're not willing to do what we got to do, I don't know if I want to take
Mhm.
it. So we're going to get more select. I think agents will get more selective about listings. But we're doing that, and I help contribute to that
Right.
with the commissions, because I think it's part of the marketing plan.
You mentioned the staging, and you had talked about that earlier too, in clean, because the buyer right now, what the buyer's ideology, the buyer's mindset that you're seeing, that you have to feel staging is more successful now than it was even. It's always been successful, but more important now
use
than
the
ever.
word staging.
Mm.
I call it house prepping.
Mm.
Like, I have a house prepper. Like, if your front door looks like crap, we're gonna paint it. If the light fixture, the fans are falling, fix the fans. Like, so we go in, and typically it's kind of, I'm not paying $10,000, but if I can convince a seller to put 10 grand in, like putting door hardware on the cabinets, taking down wallpaper border, taking down the curtains, doing the, if they rearrange the furniture, we box everything up. So and I started doing this a lot more with our seniors' houses, because I do a lot of senior moves, and it worked. But now it's kind of working for, like, I know this house that I was talking about earlier. If I can get my hands on it, it will sell. The bones are great. Like, yard's great. The house is great. It's just, it has a lot of older furniture in it.
What do you think is the mindset from the buyer?
When you walk in and you're looking at 10 houses, which is we showed a guy, showed him like 22 houses.
Mm.
And when you walk one and it's like, it feels good. It doesn't matter really what, people like that. It just, the lights are on, it feels good, it's nice. It's like going to the prom.
Mm-hmm.
And when you walk into a nicely staged or furnished, clean home,
they see themselves. They see
my
themselves
last
there.
two.
Yeah.
I mean, my other one, we had that done. They had a blue wall when you walked in. The pool needed to be remarcited.
Mm-hmm.
The furniture was kind of hodgepodge because they'd moved out. And my sellers, because I'm agent number 2, which I like being,
Mm-hmm.
and they took my price and they did everything we told them, and it sold. Like, I had so many people at that open house.
Yeah.
So they just have to look good. So it's online dating. Swipe right up. That's what they do.
I'm going to close with this. We pulled out one of the standout, 5 of your standout qualities. Problem solving under pressure. That's one of your thrills. That's one of your highs.
Yeah,
Tell us a situation where you had some problem solving under pressure here to close out.
Ooh, I got a good one.
All right.
I just did it. So I had a listing, and it was $1 million, 1.2, which in Fleming is a lot. Like, that's the highest price, right? Not on the water. So high stress customer, very OCD. Everything's perfect. Wants to be at every single show.
You're representing the buyer?
I'm the seller.
Oh, the seller. Okay.
So this is where it goes. So we get showings. It's overpriced. We knew that. We reduce it. I'm out of town. My seller, who is very, wants to be involved, somebody's driving by. She's running, oh, I got to get the mail, because she can see him driving by. So goes out. They go inside. Oh, seller, one of them has a real estate license, inactive. So they meet. He calls and he says, hey, I just want to let you know, I just sold the house. So he negotiates the whole house in the living room with everybody.
With this passer buyer. Mm-hmm. This guy, just someone who just saw this for sale sign out front.
Well, they saw it on Zillow. Okay. So they ended up talking, came up with a price. Oh, and by the way, I think I'll represent him since I have my license, and the commission will be this, and this. So anyway, commission became a big issue, which is a big thing right now. And so I bring them in. I said, okay, well, I've got to meet with this person. So let me meet with them. I literally felt like I was in that $1 million listing where they're running back from room to room, because what they negotiated, it's never just a number, right? There's always way more to the deal. Furniture, all these things, we'll throw in this, and this. Anyway, it was and the buyer was an engineer. He came in with a list of questions, and I'm not kidding. 8.5 by 11, single space, 10 point, right? Every single question. Yeah. So anyway, of course, what my seller had told him wasn't really we had to really negotiate all of that together. And God, it didn't appraise. It didn't, all the things happened, but we closed. And it was good for the buyer. And the seller got sick, ended up in the hospital. It was a lot.
Oh my goodness. But so how did you work? So the seller said
Sally,
who has an inactive license.
But I think it was active, but he's not practicing.
Right. Said he was going to represent the buyer.
Oh yeah. He was like, well, if it means about paying, I'll pay, I'll just represent him. I'm like, I can't represent you here and you represent him here for you to
Can you actually, if you're an agent, can you represent someone who's...
I can't do this for free.
Can you actually represent someone buying your house?
Yeah, I mean, if I sold my house by owner, it wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
Anyway, and they needed me. They needed...
Yeah.
For the emotions and the negotiations.
They need the mediator in the middle.
They needed that.
Yeah.
So anyway, I got a fabulous review from the seller afterwards, and she said that, anyway, my point is that was probably my hardest. And even Sally or anybody, they're like, I don't know how we got that all together, because there's no way they would have dealt with each other.
You were out of town, right?
Well, no, just when
he called the first time.
Yeah, I couldn't run over there and be like, oh, okay.
Right. No, I'm just imagining your face. You're wherever you're at. You get this call, and the seller's going through all these things. Oh, I negotiated it, and you're like,
oh God. 3 hours and back and forth, getting it to work out. So anyway, that was probably my most recent. Yeah. But there's been a lot. There's been a lot of hard ones lately. Negotiating is key.
I think if there's one of those things that every agent should know, and maybe there's a list of a new agent coming out. Every deal is different, and you're going to have squirrely ones like this. And then if a newer agent may not have obviously been able to handle it, but to have someone like you to call and say, oh my God, I got this situation.
And I get a lot of that.
Yeah, because you've done so many, and you're able to say, well, this is what we did over here. Will probably work over here. Right. And a lot of times that's true. And I think that if there's two things here, or one particular thing that every agent listening here is surrounding, and I've heard this is a kind of a ongoing things I've heard recently in the last few episodes, not that I didn't hear it at the beginning, but I'm paying more attention to it, is the importance of finding 4 or 5 other agents, preferably better and more experienced than you. Yeah. Be the 5th person in the room, and that you can call on and say, You won't believe this, but I just got this deal with a seller just literally.
Oh my God.
Because I guarantee there's couple other agents that have had the similar situations. And how did they back that seller back off because they're on their thing. You had to back them down a little bit. Say, okay, hold on a second. This is how we're gonna have to rearrange this here.
I think the other advice I can give to new agents, and I tell people all the time, it's never about the house. Negotiations are never about the house. It's always about their situations and their emotions. And when you take that out and remember that it's not you, it's not the house, it's what they're going on in their life, that's the hardest thing for agents to get over,
That is really some really wise advice right there. And
because they're stressed. Like there's other things going on, and it's an onion. It's gonna unpeel itself.
Yep.
As it goes, and
I'm sure that leads back. We didn't get into it, but when you're having some of these initial consultations, to peel the onion back, like you say, a little deeper, because when it comes down to actually having. The only person that can break through my do not disturb. When it comes down to finally finding a house and then you're negotiating, if you know what's under the peels of the onion early on, you know how to guide that and get it to the close.
Yeah, and like this one, really, there was a situation, like he wasn't well, but I didn't know that when I started.
Right.
So that's kind of, I talk a lot of agents off the ledge with that.
Yeah. No, that's solid. That's solid
advice.
advice.
It's not them, but
solid advice.
This was fun.
Eden, I appreciate you coming on.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
I don't want to do it again.
Just kidding. We'll have to bring you back on for an update. We'll do an update show.
You know what you need to do?
Stay right there. I'm going to take a photo.